This is a video request, and again, you too can blah blah blah, pay me, I'll do a video, blah blah blah. And I'm a bit more somber about this video request because I was procrastinating, and it's a video request from our good resident artist, Jorge Gonzalez. And I'm not saying this because he's a friend, I'm not saying this because he's affiliated with me, I'm saying it because it's true. Jorge is your go-to guy for artwork that needs to be done in whatever kind of business venture you're doing online. If you need artwork, go to Jorge Gonzalez. Just search him, Jorge Gonzalez. It's Jorge is spelled Jorge. I thought it was Jorge because we had a guy who worked at the police department called Jorge. But it was Jorge, but we called him Jorge. I guess he just never corrected us. Anyway. Jorge sent me he wanted me to do a video request and to review a cartoon movie called The Man Who Planted Trees. And Jorge's helped me. I was like, yeah, let's do it. So I viewed it and I'm thinking, this crazy kid, he's an art major guy, you know, crazy art people. And the video was actually very enjoyable and something that I recommend that everybody watch. And the review that he wants done, I don't know what he wants me to review, but I'm just going to tell you my opinion or my observations about it. And so, to give it a good, fair, just treatment, I've broken it down between audio, visual, storyline, and the moral. Audio. The audio, the whole thing is great. Everyone should watch it. It's originally written in French, so there may be something lost in translation, but whoever did the English translation did a very good job, because the audio makes you feel like your grandpa is reading you a bedtime story. I don't know if you had a good grandpa or not. A lot of people, unfortunately, especially with today's generation, you didn't have a good grandpa. You had a hippie. But I was fortunate enough to have like 1.5 good grandpas. I had 2 good grandpas, but one was so fucking spectacular. Watching this movie was like my grandpa, my fucking spectacular grandpa, reading me the story as if I was 3 years old again. And it was nice. Like, whoever they got to read it, the tones is amazing, and you just kind of like, grandpa is reading me a story. You could be 48 years old and you would still shut the fuck up and listen to grandpa if your grandpa's been dead for 10 years like mine has. So the audio, the reading, the dictation is absolutely spot on. Visually, the artwork is great. I don't know how to describe it. Jorge would, but it's a lot of shadowy. It provides a structure for your brain to see. Like, you see a guy walking, you see mountains, you see trees, and it's very colorful, but it's not so detailed that it inhibits your imagination. In other words, your imagination is allowed to run wild with it. And when you see it, you're just kind of like, oh, and then I think it's just more of a stepping stone to let your imagination leap light years into this world that the author and the artist had created. And you start to see this. They're talking about war. They're in World War II. They're in World War I. It spans many decades. And even though there's war going on the entire time, and actually the barren landscape, which doesn't make a lot of sense, it starts out with a barren landscape and just some guy planting trees, and it grows into a forest. You still have this ability to imagine in your own mind, with your own creative juices, this world that's very wonderful and nice. So you got the audio, you got your grandpa whispering to you as if you're a 3-year-old kid. You're excited to be sitting on grandpa's lap, and you don't care what he's reading, it's just because grandpa's reading it to you. But then the visual, I would say assistance, because they don't make it like, you must watch this. Look at how awesome and detailed my artwork is. It was minimalistic to a certain extent, but very good, and allows your brain to dream. So I think it was, it's like an assist, it's like a steroid for your brain to imagine, if that makes sense. So the visual is great. It was the right amount of visual. Storyline. The storyline is, it's beautiful. It's very, somewhat somber, but I don't even know what the storyline is, because that's where the English majors come in and tell me what and translate and the transcendentalism of the protagonist with the etagonist and the phytagonist, and well, obviously you're a fucking retard if you don't understand. The storyline I like because there was no storyline. It was just, it started off with a young man traveling through Europe, comes across some barren land, and there's an old man there planting trees. And what I like is how the young man will visit the area the old man is in, and then leave, because he got drafted into World War I. Then he comes back, the old man's still there. And you think the old man's going to die. He's not dead yet, the old man's still there. And then I think he gets drafted into World War II again. And then after all that, and the fighting and all that, comes back, the old man's still there! Inevitably the old man dies, but I'm not really like giving a spoiler or anything like. There's really no spoiler alert for this. I think it's a story that is to be enjoyed kind of like a jazz ensemble or a jazz set. There really is no point. There really is no climax, hero, fight the bad guy. It's just, here's a story you should enjoy. And then the moral. I don't think there is a moral to this. I'm sure some leftist environmentalist asswipes would say, it's about the trees, man, it's about the trees. But that's because they're short-sighted asswipes who are communists and have no souls. I think it was just a really good book, whoever wrote it. I think it was just a really good artist who drew it. I think it was a really good artist. What is a professional who lends their voice to a profession? You combine all three of those. The person who read it in English, I know it was written in French, but I can only imagine what the French version would sound like because it must be better, I presume. I don't know. Whoever read it in English did a great job. Whoever drew it did a great job. And the person who wrote it, I think he just wanted to write something nice. I really do. I think he just wanted to write something nice. And there was no bad guy, good guy, there was none of that. It was just, he just wanted to paint a canvas. Something. He must have gone through some part of Europe and saw something. Because that inspiration doesn't come without some kind of inspiration, I guess. But yeah, it's great. And I think everyone should watch it. I'll put the link down below. But The Man Who Planted Trees, and whoever did, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I just dawned on me. Whoever did the audio for the sound effects, I apologize. That is amazing. It was sparse, but well played. It was sound like a fucking asshole. New York East Coast fucking sparse but well played. Look at me, fucking douche. Never fucking made any money in his life, but it just no. The other thing, okay, here's the other, this is a fifth element. I should have, why didn't I think of this? Whoever did the sound effects did a great job. And I apologize for not putting you there, but man, it was like, it provided the exact it didn't take away. It wasn't like, I'm going to tell you and force you to listen to it. This is exactly how it sounded. It left it up to, like, other artists that participated in this, left it up to a little bit of interpretation, but provided the right amount where it let your mind wander. It let your mind be its own theater, effectively, is what it is. So that's my opinion of The Man Who Planted Trees. It's great. You should all watch it. That's the English version. I'm sure there's other versions out there. And I don't know if there's Spanish. And no one speaks like the mouth does not go with the words being broadcasted. So I'm sure there is a Mexican grandpa-like father figure who is reading it to his Mexican grandkids, even though they're like 42, and they're like, Grandpa, tell me your bedtime story. And they're all excited because Grandpa, Mexico guy, is telling them. And then there's probably the French guy, French grandpa, who's like, oh, what's up, blah, 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 blah. That's my impersonation of French people. The French language is just no real clear enunciation. Just blah, 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 blah. That's my French impersonation. Anyway, but it would be a grandfatherly figure reading it to their children. So the visual, the audio, and the sound effects, which of course are not specific to any kind of language, yeah, I'm sure this video is out there in multiple languages, and everybody, no matter what your language, you ought to watch it for all that. Hopefully, whoever's doing the reading is like your grandpa or my grandpa, and does a great job, because it was a very enjoyable, soothing story, and you felt like you were a kid again. So that's all we got. Toodles.